Go. All right.
And welcome everybody.
Are we live?
We go live now.
Did you do it?
Yes, we're
Sorry,
we're
telling my
live.
roommate to go away. Go away.
All right, welcome everybody, and we are back
I wasn't
here
trying to
in
play
the
this far.
fandom zone. Proper, shut up! I'm doing my intro. It is the most earth-shaking, groundbreaking, but never media show money taking the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying
bullshitter.
villain in YouTube entertainment today,
Yeah.
Mr. General Zod, and my infectious panel.
I was trying to recite while you were doing it, but I failed.
I know. Rude. Anyways,
I don't know.
I didn't tweet this.
Good.
Oh, thank you, Stevie. And we have Stevie J here. It's kind of funny now that the coronavirus is destroying the world apparently, and you can't get toilet paper. We finally have Stevie, so all is right in the world.
Yeah, I don't want you to wipe your ass with me though. Please, just don't do that.
I just wouldn't go out with white because you look like toilet paper. You're going to have people chasing behind you.
It is risky.
And we have the most proper, and I mean proper in every sense, because God forbid you say one wrong thing like General Zod does constantly. He will grammar correct you, Mr. Justin Proper.
Oh, God. I've already started off improperly. So I want to apologize, but that would be against my nature. No. I hope we have a very smooth show.
We already do. We have It's a Trap Productions. Welcome. It's great to see you again. And we have, of course, Trey Courtney, man, shout out, man. You are always here, like, all the time at midnight. Love you. And Cybernetic Husky, of course. He said something about chasing a cat. No, he said, I used to have a cat. Okay. I thought he was chasing cats.
Chasing a cat? No.
No, he's saying use a cat in replacement of toilet paper.
Hey, that works for me, man.
Oh, sorry.
So, we've got some great stuff to talk about. We're going to be doing coronavirus updates. Stevie, you're here, and Squirrel's going to be on here, so you got to stay until Squirrel comes.
Sweet. Well, I got about an hour or so, a bit more than an hour, so should be good.
All right, awesome. So, yeah, we're going to have Squirrel here. I'm sure PB is going to be fashionably late. We're going to have Perp is going to be a little bit late, but it's okay because I want to talk about something that Stevie, if I remember correctly, you were quite fond of The Boys, right?
Of the what?
The Boys.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Who was it? Who? I know. Who was the person who was? I feel like the only other person who saw it. I know me and Perp got into an argument about it because he fell asleep and then said it was trash. So, but anyways, I'm a huge fan of the show, and I have some bad news. And I don't like jumping on the bandwagon. You guys have heard my stance against the bullshit going on. I've called out some people in my videos and things like that. Surprisingly, been doing well. But I gotta agree because I verified with some sources. And this is a surprise article because I didn't intend on doing it, but I watched a video from Josiah Rises, so I went and I fact checked, and it was on CNN. So if they're endorsing it, I'm already fucking scared because CNN only endorses the most leftist produced shit ever. And they wrote an article talking about how brave season 2 of The Boys is going to be because they gender swapped one of my favorite character, Stormfront. I don't have a problem with that.
Are they naming season 2 The Lost Boys then?
It might be. I mean, I'm still going to watch it, but I'll bring my review. I want to see it for myself, but they're gender swapping Stormfront. And I'm like, okay, all right, the first season was good. They took a different direction. Let me see what they're gonna do. But then the director comes out, as they do when they start doing a good project, and talks about how the character is going to represent modern white nationalism. What the fuck is going on? We have the coronavirus going on. We have the fact that my school is not closed down in 3 years, but we are closed for a week. People are being laid off or having to work at home. And the biggest thing you could think of a new season of your show is the rise of white nationalism.
Oh shit! So hang on, let me just clarify for a second because I didn't quite understand. So he came out and said that the show will be fighting against white nationalism or promoting it.
No, it is going to be fighting against it. That the new trends and the new thinking of white males.
Well,
and
I've got a hot tip for him. Then it's going to be pretty bloody easy because white nationalism is like 0.0001%. So it shouldn't be it shouldn't be much of a fight.
Yeah, it is. And, I wouldn't have given this rumor any credence because, the article came in from Bounding into Comics. And quite honestly, I hate to break the heart of anyone who follows them, but I just don't believe their sources. I think that they like to gaslight a lot and that some of their stuff is unverified, just their opinion. But when I checked, it was on fucking CNN's website as a news article, and they were promoting The Boys. And when they are promoting a show, I automatically don't watch it because it's going to be boring and full of politics.
Yeah, well, that's the worst part. It's just having it full of politics. Like, you can forgive a few crappy storylines or whatever, or a few crappy characters even. But when it just becomes about politics, it's just everyone's just so over it. I'm just over it. Why swap a gender of anybody? Whether it's female to male, male to female, it doesn't matter which way. Why do it at all anyway? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, and the thing is, Stormfront could be a good allegory if they wanted to do smart politics, and this is my problem with writing today. You can make Stormfront an allegory as an ignorant white male. You can put things in there and still have those undertones without having to destroy the whole entire character to make the point. But to me, it shows a lack of creative genius when you can't interweave politics into your story. Like, for example, with The Hunt, I use this a lot because it genuinely surprised me. That movie was clever because it bashed both sides. And I had someone in my comments, and I didn't realize this until they said this to me, but they said, yeah, it really didn't take a stance. It was sort of wishy-washy in the middle. And I'm like, that's a good thing. They weren't taking a stance either way. That was the whole point of the movie. And I like the fact that they were clever enough to write it and let the audience pick what side that they wanted to be on. That's just good storytelling.
That's what a good story should do. It should leave the audience having to think about and decide which way they want to go. Give the two options, which one way, one the other way, and then it's up to the audience. It makes you think. That's the whole idea of it, instead of jamming it down your throat. And that's what makes the story interesting.
I mean, both of me and you, let's not lie, we're serious Joker shells, right?
No, not me. I hate the Joker. It's a terrible thing. No, that's bullshit.
What was so clever about that movie was that was there politics in there? Yes. Was there social issues and relevant social concerns? Yes. But the story wasn't bogged down about just the social issues. It was a man within the realm of the real world and real world things that affected the character and how they slowly declined because of the real world situations. But the real world was never the focal point. The politics weren't the focal point. The character was, and the background enhanced the experience, right? It gave
Yeah.
depths and layers.
Well, it gave the two opposing viewpoints because it had Arthur Fleck or Joker. So he's the downtrodden one. You know, he's the one that at points you feel a bit of sympathy for because he gets the shit kicked out of him all the time, both emotionally and physically. But then you also get the opposite of that, which is Thomas Wayne. So you get the asshole part of him. You know, he's the rich guy and all of that. But also he's just a human being. You don't want him to get hurt. So you get both sides of both characters. And then somewhere in the middle, you've got to try and decide what's right, what's wrong, and all of that sort of stuff. Because just as you're starting to feel a little bit of sympathy or empathy for Joker, then he goes and kills a whole bunch of people, and you're like, ooh, yeah, probably not the best thing to do. Maybe I won't go for him. And then same thing with Thomas Wayne. Like, they portray him probably as a little bit more of an asshole in Joker than anything else. But, you know, he gets gunned down with his family, and so that's not a good thing. And he doesn't really hurt anyone. He's just standing up for himself. It's more the attitude that he has when he's on the talk shows and all that. But, yeah, exactly. Good example of giving both sides in a film. Weaving those oh shit, I'm falling apart here. Weaving those politics in there, and letting the audience just decide and figure out, or at least think about what they you know, which way they associate with more.
Yeah, and this is the problem with these shows, okay? The boys did something rare and they made a splash, right? Even if you haven't seen the show, it made enough of an impact where people know of the show and they know what you're talking about. I mean, that's a hard thing to do in your premiere season. And they did it well. The story pulls together quite nicely. Well, it's got good humor. It also did politics, to me, very tastefully, because there were those allegories in there used through the superheroes, and there were still the politicians, but it had clever, funny storytelling. And I think when a writer comes out and they start letting the agenda steer the promotion, even if it's not in there. And Stevie, how many times have we come out and there've been these interviews and they say, yeah, women power and fight the patriarchy, right? And then you watch the movie of the show and you go, yeah, well, this is not what I thought it would. It's not as bad as they were talking. Like, why do they keep promoting like this? Like, who's saying this is working?
I know what you mean. It's like they wrote the story. And then after they wrote the story, they went, I know what'll get us more views and more fucking ticket sales. We'll just say that it's got an agenda, a feminist agenda or whatever agenda, and we'll get some more sales. But, I mean, really, probably the opposite happens. People who were going to see it before probably don't go and see it. And the feminists and those other groups that are freaking crazy anyway aren't even watching these movies at all. And it shows in the box office. So, yeah, I think you're right. I reckon they actually write it first, and then afterwards they go, oh, that sounds like we could probably throw an agenda in there or at least promote it that way.
What up, Stevie?
Hey, Perp.
You got a new camera?
You know, speaking of agendas, while we have Perp here, welcome. There's an agenda with YouTube for not monetizing this man, and I think we should start campaigning in movies and television shows talking about how Perp's being held down.
I'll just say this. I don't really care about monetization, but what you can do, you have 3 options of how you can support this channel, right? You can either 1, donate to my Cash App. 2, donate to my Streamlabs. 3, buy some merch. There you go. You don't gotta wait for YouTube.
Oh, and welcome, Tommy. Tommy was not feeling well. He was off for a bit, and here he is, the mod extraordinaire, right as I reach 405, which, woo, I'm out of the 3s.
Wait. Shout out to Tommy making his epic return. I saw him over on Snow Dub's channel. You know what I'm saying? Salute. Hope you're doing well.
G'day, Tommy.
Seems like he's recovering.
Oh, my frenemy, Snow Dub. Yeah, but this is this is ridiculous. I know Perp doesn't care about this news because he fell asleep during The Boys. But yeah, one of
you talk about like that's one of the characters from The Boys is getting swapped into a girl.
not just a girl, okay? I could accept that because I was more concerned about the personality. They swapped out some characters. I didn't mind the changes. I thought, you know, they at least kept the core of what the character was. That doesn't bother me. But what does bother me is that not only did they gender swap the character, but she is going to represent, and I quote, and this comes from CNN News because they're covering it now because now The Boys is going liberal. They said that it is going to be a female that represents the white nationalist movement. And it's going to be an allegory for modern white nationalism. So,
and you see why I said that show's not that great.
no, you tripping on the first season. I'm sorry. We're always going to debate on that one. The first season was fine. There was no visible politics, or it was very 50-50, you know, split kind of a deal. They're going full throttle now. They're going like full balls deep into the SJW snatch.
Yeah, but I'd actually say they're not, because if they're going to go balls deep, pardon the pun, then they should actually follow the full gender transformation, the operation, the hormones, all that shit. That should be the main storyline of the show for the whole season. Don't worry about any of the other characters. That's what's most important. Let's follow that agenda.
This season is about her becoming from a strong, powerful man to a strong, powerful white nationalist female. And you know, when you think about it, this story arc is going to invalidate the fact that you have a female, because the one female you have is going to represent a horrendous movement. I'm confused what the message is. So you're saying white women are all evil? Ladies, that's what these males think about you. These SJWs think that all of you are evil. I mean, I went to see this movie, Greed. I'd never heard of it. And my review's up. You guys can check that out. I went off. But it was like, I was watching that, and it was like seeing what SJWs think about capitalism. And it was fucking hilarious. Like, they were so blunt with their hatred. Like, this was a true blue SJW film, because the corporate guy gets eaten by a fucking lion. It's R-rated, so they show everything.
Like a legit lion.
Like a lion, yes.
Like Simba. Like Simba. Like
Simba. It's not even Simba. That was Mufasa.
Hey, what's up? Did the lion have Bernie Sanders written on the side of it?
It could have been Bernie. And I'm like, and you know what I find ironic, and I'm gonna swing this back to the main topic, which is gonna, for me, be why Corona is affecting everything, because Zod has a week off of work, which hasn't happened in like 3 years. So
does that wait? Does that mean you're going to be streaming every night now for this whole week?
I'm thinking about it. I got nothing else, but that'll depend on the unicorn.
Did I hear 24-hour stream? Is that what I heard?
Well, if I do a 24-hour stream, Stevie, you're going to be able to whip me for all 24 hours. That's the deal.
Oh, shit. Okay. That does sound like a challenge.
In that white tee.
In the white tee. Well, it might not be white after 24 hours. It could be blood. There could be who knows what on it after 24 hours.
I want to know who will stay with us for all 24 hours. Are we going to have the audience that's just like leaving their phones running in the background?
Tommy will be the only one.
Yeah, there'll be at least three people there if we're all there.
So yeah, you know, it's been crazy to see. Okay, now here's my thing with the coronavirus. This is actually really affecting the box office. And the reason why is because the theaters are changing their policy. Like starting today, the theaters actually have reserved seats for no one because they want to give space between the seats. And if you want to sit with someone, then if the 2 seats aren't available, you got to wait till the next fucking show. But it gets better. Then these motherfuckers say to me that I have got to. So you know how you get your own cup and you fill up your soda? It's like self-serve kind of a deal. Yeah, these motherfuckers want me to stand there with a cup and serve people their soda. Now, people bitch if you don't give them the right consistency of butter in their popcorn. Could you imagine a motherfucker at the soda machine and he's like, nah, man, a little less. No, a little more. No, that's not enough ice. That's too much ice.
I'm having flashbacks of Super Troopers here. I'm having flashbacks of Super Troopers. Can I get a liter of cola? Can I get a liter of cola? Does that look like stick to you?
I can see this as a kind of a benefit because most studios, they'll say, hey, we don't want to lose that much money off this, so let's just, throw this on the streaming service. Let's throw Black Widow on Disney Plus. Let's throw Wonder Woman on HBO Max because that's still coming in May. So it should be interesting because they already released The Hunt and The Invisible Man early on digital download and stuff like that. So.
Oh, Justin comes back when we get the black man. I see how you are. You're not good enough for white people anymore.
Hello, Justine Proper.
Yeah, I just don't respect you enough.
Welcome, everybody. Hold on real quick. Shout out to Sith Lord. I haven't seen you around these parts in a while, Sith. Great to have you here. Stone Cold Jeremy.
Welcome.
Beer for you, buddy. And Curtis YZ says, hey, y'all, 1917 was effing amazing. Brought it early access. Holy shit. Dude, let me tell you something about that movie, Curtis. And I'm sorry to say this, man. I'm sorry I have to bear this bad news, but you were robbed if you didn't see that in the theaters. If you didn't experience that movie on the big screen, you have robbed yourself.
I still haven't experienced the movie. So
hey, I can tell you pretty much what
there's
the
still
movie's
hope.
going to be about. Some more shit. But I'm gonna check it out. See what the hype is. It's just gonna be another war movie.
Can you make that your review afterwards?
When are you gonna get your trolling badge?
Yo, it's just like it's just I equate, war movies and slave movies. They're all the same shit. Like it's just like we have there's way too many slave movies out there.
Are you saying they all look the same? Are you saying they all look the same?
Yes.
That's fucking racist. Actually, no. I'm going to agree with Perp on this, even though he hasn't seen it and his review was just its horseshit. Don't get me wrong. I liked 1917. I thought it was brilliantly done. The cinematography was amazing. The soundtrack was really good. I thought it was a good film, but it was missing something for me. It was missing something, and it was the emotional connection to the characters because they didn't give us any real background. So anyway, that's my take, unpopular as it is.
No, you know what, Stevie? In my review, I did say that was my thing too. You had the one scene that shockingly happens that I don't want to give away if you haven't seen it, but you know what I'm talking about, where something happens when you think there's going to be a focus on 2 people and it's only one, and it's like that should have some weight. But then you're just like, it doesn't, because I don't really have any background except for the conversations.
Well, the one that I equated it to in my review was, or put it up against, was Saving Private Ryan. And one specific conversation in Saving Private Ryan in particular, which is, that scene where Matt Damon's talking to Tom Hanks and he's telling him the story about his brothers in the barn and how his brother got it on with that chick in the barn and all that. So up until that point, Matt Damon's character, Private Ryan, was basically nobody. He was just a name. Nobody cared, really. But and then even after we met him, nobody cared still. But after that conversation for like 5-10 minutes, where he talks about his brothers and this experience that happened, and all of that. And then at the end of it, he starts bawling his eyes out. Right, that was the moment that connected Private Ryan with the rest of the story. But in 1917, we didn't have any of those moments. There was one little bit at the end where there was like a bit of a flashback memory, something like that. But other than that, we didn't get the same sort of thing.
Is it better than Dunkirk? Because Dunkirk was low-key trash.
I would have to disagree. Christopher Nolan is a national treasure, and if you ever badmouth Christopher Nolan again, I will strangle your icon.
Bro, it is a PG-13 war movie. Who does that?
A brilliant man does that. That's who. Christopher fucking Nolan does that.
Yeah, but that's the worst movie. I've got to split the middle here, General Zod, because you can make a movie brilliantly. You can be a brilliant filmmaker, but actually not produce a good film. I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense, but everything technically that was in Dunkirk was fantastic. Technically, it was really great.
Yeah, it looked like the shots were amazing, but
all of that. But it did not engage me the way that 1917 did, Saving Private Ryan, We Were Soldiers, Platoon, any of those other war movies have.
Fair. Well, Stevie, you son of a bitch, when you list off those movies, I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, you got a point there.
That's my mic dropping. Sorry. Whoops. Shit.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up the first article for y'all. This is an interesting little article I came across. Stevie, let me ask you, do you like classics?
Wow. I like some classics, not all, but yes, as a general rule.
Okay. Do you like classic musicals? Okay, what is your feelings on West Side Story?
Does that sum it up? I have zero feelings about West Side Story. I know it's got Senor Spielberg doing it, but I care less, to be honest. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, no lie, I didn't even know this movie was coming out.
Okay, I'm going to talk about it, but what do you feel about the original? That's where I was going with.
Pretty much the same. Seriously, it's not something. I watched it once years ago. Yeah, I'm indifferent. I really. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things I just don't care about. Sorry, that doesn't carry your conversation on very long, but.
No. That's fine. It's fair. Musicals are a niche, but a villain appreciates a good musical. Moulin Rouge saved your Earth.
I like the original because, like, my favorite. Like, we watched this shit in school, so it's like the only two musicals I really mess with like that is with West Side Story and the Newsies. Even though the Newsies is the best musical of all time, I don't care what nobody say. What
I can get behind that. Newsies, Christian Bale, yeah, man.
They had
young
bangers.
Christian Bale.
They had bangers all throughout that. They had bangers all throughout that movie.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at. I'm not laughing at what you guys are saying. I'm reading the comments. Trey Court.
Yeah,
says,
so am I.
Morphin Supremacy says fuck musicals, and I'm just laughing because I'm with them.
Okay, so, but here's the thing. Okay, there are some key things, whether you like or hate musicals. There are some key things that you have to have, right? You have to have good choreograph. You have to have a good score. And you have to have a compelling story. PB, you don't have a say, and I will ignore all of your comments until you are in here saying them in person, you ginger bastard.
Come on. Get in
No. West Side Story, the original, at all. That's coming from me. I should know, but, just all jokes aside, but, like, West Side Story has a lot of, like, dope ass, like, think about what makes musicals, like, really good, but, like, the original West Side Story had a lot of interesting songs, and for them to just pretty much remake or remix these songs, it's supposed to take place in the same time, like, the same time frame, or are they going to push it into? It's going to be like a modern day version.
No, Spielberg says that it's supposed to take place in that 50s time period.
Okay.
This is the problem that I have, though, is I was looking at the pictures and stuff, and it still has like a modern flair to it. And I think that is a very poor choice to make everything so shiny and bright and things like that. Especially if you're going for a 50s feel, I think they should go with the aesthetics that was in the original, because they had a very street, grounded, gritty.
When is this supposed to come out?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up right now. The article is being gay because I got it off of Vanity Fair and they want me to subscribe, but they can eat a dick. Not gonna subscribe to Vanity Fair, Jesus. Zod is vain enough as it is.
What is Justin doing? Are you still here, Justin?
Sleeping.
We better not be sleeping.
So they are using but here's the things that scared me, okay? He said that this movie is going to represent migration into this country, the obstacles of xenophobia and racial prejudice. And we all know what that means in this modern era. So
boring.
That shit gonna flop.
Yeah, it's gonna flop hard.
Yeah, it's gonna be a massive flop.
It's like, okay, they did the remake to Footloose, which was fucking atrocious, and I wish I never even saw the cover.
You watched it?
No, I did not. I heard that fucking song though, because my ex, which is a big reason why she's my ex, loved that fucking movie and the song. And I knew right there we weren't going to work.
Actually, there is a musical film I like. Two of them, actually. Wayne's World 1 and Wayne's World 2.
No, I agree with Sith Lord, Sweeney Todd. That was a pretty good.
Would Sister Act movies count as a musical?
No, because they have too much times where they have too much times where there's like break. Musical there's breaks in there, but it's mostly singing. Like Greatest Showman is my jam. Hugh Jackman's fucking national treasure as well. And we really should have a Hugh Jackman Day to just celebrate how great Hugh Jackman is in just every way.
He's from Australia, mate. What do you expect? He's from Australia.
I knew Stevie was gonna love that. He's like, do you guys have like statues of Hugh Jackman in various areas?
Yeah, in my house. Hang on a minute. Just kidding. No, I don't have any fucking statues of Hugh Jackman. No.
I thought I saw a Hugh Jackman figurine over there, Stevie.
There might be a Wolverine around here somewhere, probably. Not a Hugh Jackman himself, no.
Yes, surprise Wookiee supremacy. This stream is going to become a musical.
Do you remember the musical of Beyonce, Carmen? Came out in like 2000.
Yes, it was so terrible I immediately forgot about it.
Yeah, the dialogue is hilarious.
Oh, it is so bad, dude. Like it must be a requirement. Like, okay, I understand that when you have musicals, they focus on the singing, but for the love of God, there's got to be at least like words that make sense. And the dialogue was so bad. Gary North, yes, Grease, it's the word. Anyways, musicals still need good dialogue, and I mean, any of those like Step Up and Honey, those were just like,
please don't talk about that. No.
I think the only one in that era that I liked was Stomp the Yard was pretty good, and Drum Lines. I never knew I'd like drums that much,
So
but
Wizard of Oz is considered a musical? Because I'm looking at them right now. It's considered a musical.
yeah. But you know, Wizard of Oz is weird when it comes to that. You know, Stevie, where do you land on that? Because I know pretty much most people like Wizard of Oz. Would you call it a musical or more of a story?
Probably musical. I actually didn't mind that when I was a kid with Wizard of Oz, but once I got over the age of like 9, I didn't like it anymore.
Stevie's hate of musicals are just.
We can expect Proper to drop off soon because he's still afraid of the Wicked Witch of the West. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a musical, I think.
So yeah.
Hairspray.
I can appreciate the talent. Like I can appreciate Hugh Jackman. I can appreciate, John Travolta, Olivia Newton-Bomb. I can appreciate all of these people and their talent, but I just don't like it.
Which is fair. Which is a fair. That's a fair statement. It's not for everyone. I thought Wookie, I'm not liking the hate you're bringing for musical, man. I don't like it.
Classic.
Your lack of faith in the dark side is disturbing. Anyways,
sorry, just real quick. Would we class The Last Jedi as a musical?
Oh yeah.
It's got Mary Poppins in it.
Yeah, we got Leia Poppins.
Yep,
that was definitely a musical. General gender studies.
Wait. I gotta say that was a terrible impression of the Emperor. You sounded like you were on a plantation or something like that. You sound like you were down south, but we don't like y'all.
He is there, Perp. He's just calling it the fandom zone.
So moving right along, I'm going to bring up an article that I found interesting that we could all share in, and it is about the rise of trash.
Relax.
But I know you solely like that franchise because of Daisy Ridley. There is no other reason why. Whatever, I think of Ridley Scott. I'm sorry. She is after Rise of Skywalker. I do like me some Daisy.
Her actual name is Daisy the Riddler. She's going to be in the new Batman film.
Yeah, I could buy that. She wasn't an evil experiment, but I want to read an article from Uproxx, and they said that Star Wars Rise of Skywalker has been dropped online earlier than expected. There is a lot of people self-quarantining right now, all thanks to the novel coronavirus sweeping across the globe. But at least people are stuck indoors with something to watch. On Friday, it was announced Disney was making Frozen 2, the smash sequel, or the worst, most horrendous fucking kids film ever made, / worst sequel. That movie should be burned. Watch my review anyways. To the 2013 blockbuster available on their streamer a few months earlier than planned. It'll be online Sunday. They dropped another one of their products online. Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is now available for digital rental. In neither case did Disney explicitly state the reasons behind their release was the deadly pandemic. It's not, oh my God, I can't wait till it scrolls on. That's been keeping many, though not all, indoors. On top of that, physical copies of the film, the third in the third trilogy of the so-called Skywalker saga, won't hit shelves until March 31st, as originally planned. Originally, the digital version was supposed to go live on Tuesday, the 17th, but since many places in America, including New York City, have declared a state of emergency. At least they can catch up with films that close out a story over 40 years in the telling. The Rise of Skywalker opened late 2019 with mixed reviews, with some critics taking umbrage with such matters as the return of a long dead baddie, Palpatine, who it was later revealed was a clone. No, that's fucking stupid. I don't accept that excuse. Those discussions will likely resurface now that the film is easy accessible. Feel free to stream once more its treatment of Kelly Marine Trans Rose Tico in between checking out coronavirus news. That's hilarious. I love who wrote this. I love that ending.
Hang on a minute. They called Emperor Palpatine a baddie. Who calls Emperor Palpatine a baddie? He's a villain. He's an evil dictator. He's not a baddie.
Hey, PB.
Speaking of evil dictators, welcome, PB.
Oh my God! Did you just say Kelly Marine Trans?
PB. It gets better. He said Daisy Ridley.
Oh, I heard the Daisy Ridley, and then he went on ignoring me, that motherfucker.
That is why I ignored you.
Oh, shit.
But I didn't miss him saying Kelly Marine Trans. I don't know who the fuck that is.
That's right.
I feel like
Justin,
that joke just worked, though.
40 minutes in. Marine
Asian,
Trans.
It's an Asian fish that changes its gender.
Hashtag Kelly Marine Trans. Everybody hashtag that. Spread it around the Twitterverse. We're going to get that going.
Spread it like
Release
the
the trans.
That's terrible.
Oh, man.
So, here's the thing I wanted to bring.
Hold on. Stevie.
Yes.
My wife says hi.
Hi, PB's wife.
And she still wants that bingo.
Hi, Mrs. PB.
G'day.
Holy fuck, he is awake.
He just tuned out for the Wicked Witch of the West section. That's all.
Oh, she also said, hi, cute Justin.
Thank you.
Oh, isn't that nice?
She said thank you.
Thank you. Nice? That's so sweet of you.
She didn't say nothing to the other two people.
I feel dirty after
Perpin's on.
She
said hi to Perp.
Hand sanitizer on.
Hello.
No, she said hi to Perp.
Hello. Good evening.
Okay, go ahead, dictator.
So here's the thing. We've had a lot of movies being rescheduled, pushed back, things like that. And I'm gonna go around the panel here, but do you guys think that maybe it is a good idea for them to start releasing these via VOD? And I know PB's brought up an article about this, which I'll hop into in a minute. But Stevie, what do you think? Do you think that right now they're not going to make money at the theaters?
Honestly, my raw opinion on this is the more shit that gets cancelled and changed and fucking messed with, the more it's just going to perpetuate the hysteria. And it's just going to be even more of cascading until just nothing exists anymore. Nothing's open. Nothing's anything.
Oh, now I need to go out and buy Cascade too?
Yes, you do. Several. I don't know what Cascade is over there, but yes, buy lots of them.
It's soap.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that makes sense then. So that's my opinion. Look, I think that, of course, coronavirus is a real thing. Absolutely. But I don't think it deserves the amount of hysteria that the media has given it. And I can guarantee you, when I go to the supermarket and there's nothing on the shelves, it's not because there's all these people that are sick. It's because all these people are stupid and they think that things are just going to disappear off the shelf, but they're not. So,
Hello, squirrel.
Hello, squirrel.
Love the avatar, Justin.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
my opinion on it is no. I don't think they should close more and more things. I think maybe what they should do, if they're serious about it, is create bubble chairs at the cinema. So, like the bubble boy from Seinfeld, just have the chairs as bubble. Everybody hops in a bubble. Anyway, I gave you one serious answer and one, not so serious answer.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm used to giving nonsensical answers, so it's good to have some level-headed answers. Perp, I know you're all about the streaming. Everything's going streaming.
Oh yeah.
So what do you think?
This is a win-win for bootleggers, because now a lot quicker. Like, bring on Black Widow so I can watch it at home. Bring on Wonder Woman. I watch that bitch at home too. Like, yeah. So
Zod does not endorse piracy. Continue.
Until something changes.
He doesn't endorse the piracy because he sees the movie for free anyways.
Yeah, and if it does come out in theaters, I'll go see it in theaters. That's what I do. I was like, I'll watch the bootleg, and I'll go, watch in the theaters. I do both. You can do both. I'm not a complete scumbag.
Fair enough. Hashtag perp is not a scumbag.
Not
So, let's go to the person who is the foremost. Like, I'm just gonna call them CDC Squirrel. They have all of the knowledge. They've been following this shit more closely than anyone I know. Mad Squirrel, what do you think about them releasing these movies like immediately to streaming? Do you think this is bad? Does it set a bad precedence? Is it going to add more panic? What's your take on this?
I think it's smart. I mean, the truth is people are nasty. So I don't want to be in a movie theater to be honest with you, I hate going to movie theaters now. Like, it's just the assigned seating and being like right next to someone when there's all these available seats. It seems very, tacky. I don't know. Like, I'm sitting next to somebody and there's like all these other seats open. It's like being at a concert. I think I've said this before, right? Being at a concert and you have a dozen open seats all over the place, like in very much better locations. And yet you have like two giant people right on either side of you and you can't move. So like, yeah, I don't like that feeling anyway to begin with, but I think this is actually a smart idea to some extent because the movies have got to make some changes for their long-term survival, especially with streaming. And they just have to figure out better ways of doing it. And I think that they have to reinvent themselves a little bit further than what they're catching up. Like, I feel like they're still catching up to like what Netflix did, remember when Netflix first started and it was just, renting movies and stuff by mail. Like around that time, they were actually very close to going into bankruptcy at one point until they started making some investments and some changes. And then they started making their own movies and TV shows. Like, I think House of Cards was like that beginning for them, really. And that was different. I mean, it was very unique. I mean, Amazon, Prime started with their stuff shortly after. And it was a very competitive move. Yeah, exactly. It was very competitive. And I think a lot of these movie companies are just barely catching up to, they're trying to figure out formatting and different things they can have available. So having the films available, I think, was a smart move because they're probably not going to fill any theaters. That's the truth, if they haven't already seen it, So.
And it's a good thing that, like, they could look at it like, yeah, they're going to take a hit with the box office, but if they put these things in their streaming services, like, that will boost their like subscriptions or whatever, or that data for that. Like if they announce like, oh, Black Widow is going to be on Disney Plus for X amount of time or whatever, mad people are going to go just subscribe real quick to go watch it. So
right, because long term, I think just depends. Like Netflix Yeah, they're doing pretty good. I mean, even with Disney Plus on the market, Disney really doesn't. I don't know. I unsubscribed a while ago, so because I'm just like I'll do it eventually. I'll go back for other stuff, like if I decide to watch Clone Wars. But the truth is, they really don't have enough of their own. They're still building on that. They're still creating their own series or releasing certain things, and they have to find the right audiences for that. Wherever they're releasing it, whether that's on Hulu, I think, or Disney Plus, or whatever they're going to do. But I think the future of new releases in theaters, though, I see it going online streaming servicing. I think that's the only way they're going to remain competitive because they've already taken a hit over time. And the fact is that they overpay everybody as it is. If you could reduce costs, you should probably do that. So, I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion. I know that not everybody has that availability, but it's in this situation. This is a good example of where it would come in handy, especially for places that there's larger emergencies. Let's say regional. Let's say a regional emergencies, and they have to close down movie theaters and things like that. This is something they can continually roll out and have as a secondary to still build on that audience that they otherwise wouldn't have. Like if they had already had the video on demand in China when all this hit, dude, they'd be making their money. I really believe.
Oh yeah,
that.
without a doubt.
But now they've taken like a significant hit. And they keep blaming the failure of really shitty films on that, but whatever. In the end, though, that they had this already rolled out ahead of time and thought it through, they could have still cashed in quite a bit and maybe even gotten subscriptions, which is that added revenue every month and long-term longevity. But once again, it just depends on how they do it. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I don't care. In the end,
like I said, I think it'll be beneficial for them if they just say, "Hey, let's just take this hit. We'll still recoup whatever money, and then we'll come back strong next year and stuff." Because they're going to make all the money back and stuff within like what they need in a couple of years and whatnot.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we had that great breakdown from the financial squirrel. I'll have you look over my numbers later.
Sorry,
Oh my
that's how my
God.
brain goes.
It's easy to look over his numbers. 0 plus crazy equals insane.
Thank
Makes
you,
sense.
PB. You're like my spirit animal. What?
Aw.
You can't ignore me now, motherfucker.
What do you think about? What do you think? What do you think about this releasing these? And to be fair, they're not in the theater anymore, so I don't care for the angle. But do you think this is the future? They should bring some of these blockbusters to streaming as opposed to delaying them in theaters?
The movies that Universal is putting on demand are ones that are supposed to come out in the theater. That's the article that I sent to you because I heard it on the radio today. I was like, oh, really? So then I went home and I looked it up, and all over the place from actual sources, from like Los Angeles Times, Wall Street Journal, Variety, people that actually report the news, not cosmic book news, shit like that.
We're bounding into bullshit.
Exactly. Like they're putting new releases on demand, and they're going to be available when you rent them for 48 hours.
Oh shit! Trolls World Tour, bitch! I am going to be on that. What is this? NBC Universal? Yeah.
Hello,
sorry,
bitchy unicorn.
Zod likes himself a feeling.
I feel like Zod listened to literally nothing that PB just said. Yeah.
No, I was listening, and then I saw
fucking word
on the police.
It's like PB's talking about Variety and all these news outlets, and Zod's like, "Fuck yeah, yeah." Oh, what were you talking about? Sorry.
I fucking
well,
love
were
trolls.
you making a point? Nope, I didn't make any points.
Yes, bitchy, I see you in the chat. I also saw you before the chat.
I don't need to hear about that.
Yeah, we don't need to know that before.
I'm catching up on chat now.
Hi,
bitchy.
So yeah, I think this is the best way that they can minimize the damage that was going to be incurred on every movie that would have been released over the next month, 2 months, 3 months. We don't know how
7
long it's going
years.
to take for this
7 years.
hysteria
PB.
to abate.
I'm getting over it. I'm getting real over it.
Well, you should be over it. I mean, you're the only person I know of that spear tackled an old lady and drop kicked a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I fucking showed him
all
too.
over toilet paper.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I tell you what, I'm that pissed off. It's just, and I'm not pissed off with the shops because there's no stuff there. I'm pissed off with these idiots who go out and buy like 55 bags of rice.
Right.
What are you doing with that? Like, are you making a whole bunch of sushi? No, you're not making a whole bunch of sushi. You're just a dickhead. That's all it is. You're just a dickhead.
There's a lot of.
I want rice too.
It's like I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and the two of them ran to the store to get something. I think it was just like one item or two items, and mostly like vegetables, right? They ran in there and they were walking by like where the toiletries and stuff were, and that's where like the baby wipes, because the baby section was right across the way. And this lady took the last 7 containers of baby wipes, and there was a mother in tears holding an infant, begging for at least one of those, like, you know, packs, and the woman completely blew her off, walked out with them. And I was like, wow, I would have slapped a bitch. Like, it would have been in 3D.
Did she post up outside the store?
I would have, fuck her. She didn't do it though. She had the baby. I understand. I would have been like her wing woman. It would have been totally fine. I'd been like, you stay here. Baby. Yeah, I'd be like, here, hold the kid. I'll be back. Don't worry about it.
But this is what's so frustrating about the whole fucking thing. It's like the coronavirus isn't the thing that's causing all this. It's actually not. It's the media plus stupid people equals fucking ridiculous. So, like, if you've got the flu, what do? You kind of stay home, don't you? Because you're sick, and you stay away from people. You know, like you say to your friends, "Oh, don't come over. I'm sick." So, like, you isolate yourself. So, with the coronavirus, there's nothing different. But when I got the flu, I don't go out and buy fucking 100 bags of rice and then buy like 55 bags or boxes of toilet paper and like all the hand sanitizer I can find. It just.
Well, it's like
there's people just sitting around. And it's like, fuck, I
can't
move. There's hand sanitizer everywhere.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. Like, my belief is on this. It's the 100%, not just the fucking media. Fuck the media. It's the goddamn government. Okay. Had the government not been transparent, meaning from the beginning, didn't like all that was on our news around the time that this outbreak started in the US was our election bullshit and the stupid debates. Okay. For the Democratic Party. Yes. Nobody cares about the cute. No one cares about the cotton balls. We're kind of busy, you know. One of the old guys is going to get in there, meaning was the actual candidate. I don't care. In the end, they're just yelling at each other incoherently. Who gives a shit? So, like, you know, the government had rolled this out appropriately, meaning actually educating people a little bit, not just, oh, it's just the cold, it's just the flu. And it went from being just the cold and just the flu to, well, actually, we forgot to mention this. And, oh, yeah, we can't really hide Italy anymore. Sorry about that. They weren't transparent with their people. So, of course, people have a natural panic because the government just last minute kind of threw this at them. The media threw it at him. The CDC was no help whatsoever. Trump, I don't know what he was talking about. It was a lot of rambling. But there needs to be transparency because people have a natural fear reaction, right? And there was people calling for this back in January and February when it was known that this was spreading, meaning it inevitably would come to the States, whatever it was. The mortality rate is well known, being 3 times the number that's being reported by China. Okay. But once again, it's about informing the public appropriately so they don't have this childish reaction that we're seeing now, which is panic and absolute asinine behavior. People showing their ass. It's unacceptable.
It's it's absolute stupidity because, like, I'm not going to dox myself here, but I work for a supermarket here, right?
Right.
Like at their head office. And do you know how much of a shortage there is? Do you know how many products there are that are on short supply right now? I'll have a guess. Have a guess how many are on short supply?
100.
I'd say a
One.
good. The hand sanitizer or toilet?
Just one. Hand sanitizer. That's it. Everything else is completely available. No restrictions, no issues, no problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fuckwits that go to the supermarket and buy it all in 10 minutes so nobody else gets any.
Right.
If everybody just shopped as normal, because this is how the ordering system works in supply, at least here anyway. It's all automatic. So as soon as it gets down to like there's 5 left, the system automatically orders it because it knows it won't sell those next 5 or those last 5 within the next 24 hours, which is when the next delivery comes. So now that it gets down to the last 5 in 3 seconds, and then it goes the whole day with nothing, that's still waiting for that order to be shipped.
Right.
But if everybody just shopped as normal,
right,
then everyone would just be able to get their normal shopping.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like it's just a.
But they
it's
can't. Because
right. Exactly. And it's that panic and that fear, and it's like this is 100% unnecessary. But honestly, I would say in the States, what really triggered that panic was just not the communication on behalf of the government, and then the
100%.
CDC being like, "Hey, it's so totally fine, no worries," and then all of a sudden it changed. Right, the numbers jumped, and there were people getting sick.
And because they did that and realized, and same here as well, and because they did that and then realized, you get this massive knee-jerk reaction from all the governing bodies.
Right.
So they're like, cancel this, cancel that, cancel that. And then, of course, the public's going, holy shit, there's not going to be any NBA. I need to go and buy a whole lot of bread. Does that make sense? There's no NBA. I need
my feelings away.
Jesus. Well,
man,
I got to eat my feelings.
It's gonna feel so much better in the end.
Even my brother, he was kind of pissed about this because he does a lot of work in New York, and they pretty much like shut down New York, and he's kind of shit out of a job because they really weren't prepared over there, like and whatnot. So
here's the thing:
it's
like
definitely getting messy.
Like what I understand it, like a lot of people are pissed about everything just being shut down, and they don't agree with those things, and I understand that. But I think when we, at the end of this, whatever that is, and we really see the full numbers, because there's a lack of transparency on, in my opinion, whatever Chinese numbers we have, you need to double or triple those. The mortality rate is a lot higher than what it's been indicated. That's why suddenly they gave a shit. The United States is I can only speak on behalf of the United States right now, but they're 3 months behind on the news. They're 3 months behind on statistics, and they're just barely catching up because suddenly they care more about this than they do the politics, because it's affecting the economy. Who knew? We're a global economy. It's a nightmare.
Breakdown on the age demographics of people, of the victims, against the mortality rate, because we know that it's more risky for the elderly and young people.
Well,
but is there an actual
on
the?
Well, it depends on the country and the mutation. The problem is that Iran has 2 different mutations. China has 2 different mutations. Right now, South Korea is trying to figure that out. And the mortality, for example, the highest number of high-risk patients, or the people who are getting hospitalized, are actually in their 20s, 20 to 29 years old. And that's in South Korea. And they have elderly, the other, like it's 30-something% in South Korea of being in that age group, which is very different, right, than what happened in China. But the thing with China is that we don't have accurate numbers because communism. So, and Iran, I don't know what to say.
And let's just be honest, healthcare is questionable, isn't it?
Oh,
considering they prefer to shoot their own people than actually look after them.
Oopsie. Yeah. Like, he fell down on the gun. Like,
and ran in the ditch.
and he buried himself.
I don't know how that happened, But like, the other thing was that we were just talking about this last night, is that they were looking at Italy versus South Korea's numbers, right, on age. And it was significant because, in Italy, you have people like, let's say 50 years old and up being heavily affected. Now, obviously, as they get old, even people in their 40s. But as you get into like the older age, right, the elderly age, it's really significant. Well, then you look at South Korea's numbers, and the majority are getting hit, or like 20 to 29, which is very abnormal. and I'm trying to remember the other regions. One was the Dutch. A lot of their cases, I think they were talking about, they're severe, meaning that one's in ICU in critical condition, not serious, but like critical. A good percentage of like,
So
there was like
ice skaters.
Yeah, it was like 60 something. It was like 68 people that were in critical. 30 of them were younger than 40. And I was like, well, that's a concern. So that's the problem, is that every country they're starting to get a bigger picture of how significant of a threat this is. And that's the problem. Like the China, oh my gosh, they did not report properly. And when people accepted it's a communist nation, instead of just assuming they're going to be 100%, they're busy blaming us for being a bioweapon. I'm like, calm down, China.
You can't trust the country that says, "Oh, our people are free to do whatever they want," and just shoots people in the street.
We have a citizenship membership card. Yeah. You know.
Well, I've got to get going in a minute. But I've got a theory about. I've got a theory about why the Asian countries have such a high mortality rate on this, and it's because old Johnny Blogs down the road here just bought all the rice. All of it. They can't sustain themselves.
Yeah, and that's the worst part. I agree. Like, I don't like this panic and the meanness and just the greed. Yeah. It's not there's supplies. They just have to be replenished. And like you're saying, we hear it a lot, especially from truckers who are moving this stuff. I mean, they're having their own issues here in the States about getting the products to stores. But it's just that the supplies are there. They're not. It'll be okay. Just think smart, and be respectful.
Just buy what you normally buy. Like,
right.
I don't know how many of these people are like swimming.
All right, hookers and blow.
They're just like, do you know what I mean? Like how much room have you got in your house for all this stuff?
Dude, you don't even. I bet their house looks like
always
a grocery
room
store
for hookers and blow.
Actually, that's a really good point. I'm going to go find one of these doomsday preppers. I'm just going to go to their house and eat.
Right.
They have plenty of shit.
Be aware they're probably armed,
Hey, Shagger. Yeah, how about you give me some food?
Right. And this is the thing, is that let's say for the example, like for like natural preppers, not the psychos that are in the stores. Okay. We're talking people who actually prepare, because those guys, they aren't like this. Like, this is something over time that they do, we do it here, like a lot of people do it here in the, near the Gulf because of the hurricanes.
Well, those guys who wouldn't get near the front door anyway, you'd probably step on a bouncing Betty and you'd be blown to smithereens.
People fall down.
Yeah.
People have accidents.
Good to talk to you all. I have to go sanitize myself. I'm gonna bathe in hand sanitizer.
Godspeed, Stevie.
Have a good afternoon or evening.
Farewell.
Bye, Steve.
See you later, Stevie.
Have a good time.
All right, so I got some news though. There are 2 people in this world that are going to cure this disease, and I came across this article, and when I saw who was headlining it, I said to myself, yes, these 2 people. This is the most important article I am going to read of the night.
Wait, let me guess. It's going to be Brie Larson and it's going to be Brie Larson and Ryan Johnson.
Probably.
You're about half right.
Brie, man. Gallon.
So, inside the coronavirus lockdown, the most important thing that's happening in DC right now, it's not the fact that shit's going down with this virus. No, it's that Gal Gadot is working undercover to bring Brie Larson to DC.
For real?
So,
like,
and I quote, Gal Gadot and Brie Larson have been.
You mean to bring her to DC Comics, not the city?
Yes, DC Comics. I just thought that was hilarious. Gal Gadot and Brie Larson have been the talk of the town ever since both actresses shared a playful selfie together. The motto was, and I quote, this was probably directly from Brie Cunt, "Make love, not war." But God, I hate her so much. Oh, there's never been such a more terrible person in this world.
That said that.
Oh, But amidst the coronavirus, it seems there is a much intense agenda at play. What could this agenda be? Maybe feminism? Maybe Bree's gonna die. Let's read on.
That's terrible. My God.
I'm sorry. I would never wish someone in this world that deserves to catch this would catch it. Brie Larson disclaimer.
Nobody deserves to catch the virus. Hashtag villains are assholes.
When Marvel and DC fans saw Captain Woman and Wonder Woman in the same frame, who knew that Gal Gadot was secretly influencing Brie Larson to move to DC? All the talk backstage at the Academy Awards, where the selfies were clicked, was in fact more than just some friendly neighborhood talk. Rumors, and I quote, rumors, have surrounded Brie Larson, claiming that she is planning to set foot in the rival boat of the DCEU. Please, go. These reports are getting intense as the coronavirus hits the Hollywood industry. There's a selfie here. I'm not gonna lie, I love you, Gal. Anyways,
oh my.
No, you mispronounced it. You mispronounced it. It's pronounced Brie.
Brie? That's what I
Yeah,
said.
you love Brie.
Oh, fuck you. God damn it. I walked into that one.
I can hear it. You hear like a ticking noise.
It's a huge coincidence that within 2 weeks of the famous Gal Gadot, now don't go crazy, famous Gal Gadot and Brie Larson pictures, the latter is apparently mulling to move to the DCEU. Whether the Wonder Woman actress was an influence on Captain Marvel actress or not, it seems Brie Larson might move to the DC universe. Let me see. If reports
Zod's
are to
favorite universe. Hashtag suck it, villain.
if the reports are to be believed, Captain Marvel actress is ready to let go of the MCU, the platform that made her lead actress in the first ever female standalone project. Bullshit. It was not. Fuck you. Anyways, although this report, and take it with a grain of salt because it's from We Don't Got This Covered, reported that Warner Bros. Are eyeing Brie Larson for a DCU role of Lady Blackhawk, which would be a fucking travesty because I fucking like that character.
That'll be epic.
According to the report, as of now, Brie Larson could be launched as Lady Blackhawk either in a standalone movie or as part of the Black Adam movie. Oh, that's around the corner.
Ooh,
fuck.
With The Rock? Awesome.
Oh, no, she's ruining my life. Why? Please.
She's making my life wonderful.
But this character looked like she's got buns and Brie does not have none. So
I am mourning right now. Okay, this is the worst fucking news I've heard this year. Besides that, we are not getting a standalone.
Right, we literally just talked about coronavirus for like 20, 30 minutes. But this is the worst news of the year.
To be fair, Brie Larson is annoying as hell, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that Nissan commercial. That Nissan commercial is fucking grating.
But that car though.
Drop the taco, get in the car.
Brie Larson could be launched as Lady Blackhawk in either a standalone movie or part of the Black Adam movie, which will launch the Justice Society of America and move on to bring her to the limelight in the DCEU. Fuck. Which is the spinoff for Shazam, set to release in December 22nd, 2021. Interestingly, the movie is based off the anti-hero Shazam, with the lead being Dwayne Johnson. First thing and disclaimer, Brie is not the only actress being considered for the role, but the chances Brie Larson changing her superhero cape are high, with a pitch of, I don't know what that word is, over
Not surprising.
over the short span that she has been a part of the Marvel universe and fucked up Captain Marvel for everyone forever. I ad-libbed that.
What do you mean? She didn't fuck up the character. Apparently, Captain Marvel's a real deadpan character when you put her next to Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, same character. Never mind. I'm not getting into source material.
It's not the
Brie
same
Larson.
character.
Brie Larson has piled up various reasons that irk fans into not liking her.
Oh, that's already done.
That's you. They're talking to you directly to you. So.
That's out of the bag, man.
That's fucking funny.
It's like this article was written by Zod. So
no, if it was written by you, there would be a lot of like misspelling and double spaces and shit.
He would have been able to read it if it was written by him.
She'll look like hieroglyphics and shit like.
Hey, that's the ancient Kryptonian language. Respect. Anyway.
Emojis.
Jerka.
Things went so far that some fans put a petition asking Brie Larson to step down as Captain Marvel. Those are the SJW fans that supposedly love her. While the actress has sailed through all the criticism with poise, eat a dick, it would not be shocking if she decides to call it quits on MCU. Despite the negative criticism from fans, Brie Larson is at the peak of her career. What?
Well, because she'll never get negative criticism being in a DC product.
DC is like the Omega for show. Fuck, she might fit in fine. With $1 billion movie and future projects lined up in the MCU, Brie Larson is already a part of at least 3 projects in the MCU: Captain Marvel 2, Disney Plus, Miss Marvel, and Avengers 5. She is vacuum booked for the next 2 years. So even if Brie Larson signs a deal with the DCU, it will probably not be before 2023 that she can actually put Carol Danvers to rest. Not only this, but switching universes might prove to be an invite for more criticism from fans. Well, at the end of the day, Brie Larson needs to choose what is best for her career, which is hopefully going down in a new model of the Titanic.
Good God.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? I think just looking at what this Lady Black Hawk character is, like, it seems like she could probably pull off this character more than a Captain Marvel, like, because it seems like this Lady Black Hawk is like a more grounded character and whatnot, not so like with superpowers and all that shit. So it could work out for her. Who knows?
No, perp. No, not DC. I got very few things left in this life. Okay? Doctor Who is trash. Picard is trash. I need a fucking win here. And the last thing I need...
about fucking Picard.
Correct.
I can't help it, okay? That's the one leg of Trek that I love, and they just bent Sir Patrick over, and he's like...
TNG and Picard are not the same thing.
Correction. Star Trek and Doctor Who been trash. I just wanted to put that up.
And the Troll Award goes to...
Curtis in chat says, won't happen. DC won't take Larson. And
Curtis, we just got to stay strong.
And Carrie North said retirement is best for her career.
Absolutely. Preferably a fiery bus accident.
God. Good God.
That's not retirement.
Watch it.
That's a cremation.
No, retirement from the earth.
Oh my
Fucking
God!
A.
Really quick, I
if you met Brie Larson, what if she was like the nicest, like person in the world, just a complete sweetheart. Wouldn't you feel kind
I
of
don't
bad?
know. I just want to know what Squirrel was gonna say.
Oh, my fault.
Oh shit. Okay, first thing is Ancient One for says super chat, a colossal sized bag of premium nuts and premium acorns for Mad Squirrel, her husband Calm Squirrel, eldest squirrel, and the little squirrel so that they won't have to rattle the tree. Thank you, Ancient One. Tommy, he made something special. He says, welcome to Zod Phonics with your host. I can't pronounce this Zod. Share this complicated reading stream and jump on the like button like it's a landmine.
Love you, Tommy. Great to have you back. No one can make those like Mr. Tommy. He's just crazy. He's back to never sleeping. We're glad to have you.
Now, I will answer your question, Perp. There's
Yes.
no way that she can possibly be as annoying as she is portrayed in some of those interviews. Like,
Yeah, I think
Don
it's just
Cheadle does not want to ever spend any time with her ever.
No, he doesn't.
No, let me just say this, Perp, to answer your question. If I saw Brie Larson and we just by happenstance to bump into each other, I wouldn't get the opportunity to know how she is as a person on the inside, because my first knee-jerk reaction would be to beat her within an inch of her life. Disclaimer.
Oh my God!
And-
What are you
Mother of
listening
God.
to?
Yo, we do not condone violence towards females.
Disclaimer.
Disavow. Mother of God.
We're just gonna act like he didn't say that.
With all these, with all this.
Justin, if you endorse everything that Zod said, stay silent.
Bingo.
Okay, then.
It's knocked out.
Now you know, people. Now you know.
Oh my God, man.
No,
Squirrel,
I thought
so
you were
glad
going
to
to turn
have
it
you
into
in
a
this
joke, but you
conversation.
just saying that you're going to beat women is not a joke.
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus.
I didn't say women. I said a woman.
Are you
Oh, my
sure? Stop
bad.
assuming.
If
So then
Bitchy
it's
is
a
listening,
specific hate crime. My bad.
she is listening, make sure you give Zod a good smack in the face, like one time for that comment.
Mm.
Ooh, spicy.
Give him a good
Oh,
ramming with that horn.
Oh, no.
I will raise you 2 smacks, sir.
Oh my God.
Like that shit.
I mean, if we're talking smacks that I can eat with cereal, I will take that.
Oh, God.
All right, just and then
Those are
all right,
delicious.
scratch the smack and just give him a swift kick to the balls. There you go.
Allegedly.
Ouch.
So, moving on to my weird habits. No,
Oh my God.
Security.
Oh, welcome, General
leave the
Zod.
stream.
Went from 405 to 2 viewers, 2 subscribers after tonight. Anyways, no, I think that this would be a tragedy. I think this news is more groundbreaking than anything coming out of Corona, because this is the most horrid news that a villain has received.
The end is
I am
near.
going to go to the darkest parts of the fandom zone and just reevaluate speeding up my timeline for conquering the earth. Because my first act as your dictator will be to destroy every trace of Brie Larson.
I
Holy
mean,
shit.
she got paid $5 million for her first movie. I would think that somewhere in her contract, there's got to be a no competition clause. Because I know that they've done that with several actors on both sides, so they can't just jump over to the other side and play some superhero over there.
Well, I mean, Idris Elba has done both. He was wasn't he in both the universes?
What
he
movie?
he got killed off in what was
Star
it,
Trek?
Infinity War? So
Yeah.
he's good. He
not
was
Star
good
Trek.
to go join the Suicide Squad.
No. It wasn't him. It was the other guy from Guardians. I forgot his name because it's really fucking hard to say. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy as
or as like the one of the bad guys, and then he was in Shazam as the like main
Rich, you talking
wizard.
about Korath?
No. The other guy in the first Guardians. He
other
like
guy?
The guy that asked Star-Lord, like, I'm Star-Lord. Who?
That's Korath, the black guy with the weird eyes.
That's the only black dude I see in
no,
Guardians.
but that isn't Korath. Was it Korath?
Oh God.
Pretty sure.
There's only one black dude in Guardians. There's not that many black people in Marvel, period. So it's not that hard to get them mixed up.
Yeah, so he went over and did Shazam, and ironically got killed in that too. So
I didn't know he was in Shazam. I still didn't see that movie yet.
Oh, it was a fun time. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, it's not unheard of, but it's just with the main, like you were saying, PB. I feel like the main people that they try to push, they sign some kind of a contract because, I mean, then you'd have like people wanting Robert Downey Jr. or you know what I mean. So I could see them signing some kind of an agreement for however many years that Marvel wants to lock them in.
Well, it's usually not a set number of years. It's usually a set number of movies.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I know Captain Marvel is most certainly getting another film, and everyone who's reporting it's not happening, you're all a bunch of fucking idiots. It made $1 billion. It's going to happen.
Yeah, this isn't like the Rian Johnson trilogy. It's happening.
Oh, thank you, Stone Cold Jeremy. I still won't ever pronounce that, but thank you. There's no way in the world of God I will forever pronounce that name.
Digimon. I can't. Hanso? Sure.
I'll go with Hanso.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you don't know, he was in a great movie, Never Back Down. That's like one of my favorite, like, I don't know, UFC kind of fighting movie. It's weird, but I have the soundtrack in the movie. That was a good movie, and that's where he was like one of the roles where they noticed him in the MCU after he did that movie. So he played the trainer with the saddest fucking backstory ever.
Somebody impersonating Bob Ross?
It's a long story, man. It's funny. It's one of those little stories, man. Badass. What?
I just caught the end of that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like those little, we go on, Ancient One and I have these conversations, and he'll send me like different clips and stuff, and there was one of this impersonator, and I was like, I'll bite him in the ear, like, I don't know, it was a long time. We went down a road and didn't come back. That's the way it goes. But there was a film that this guy was in, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. I first saw him. This actor, his face is so familiar. What did I see him in? Maybe it was, he's been in a lot of shit. Constantine. Oh my God, he's been in a lot of shit. Okay. It might have been The Tempest. The one that came out the one in 2010. He's a pretty seasoned actor, though.
So speaking of actors, and I got some, and we brought this actor up, some sad news, who I consider a British national treasure here, Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
He made a video.
He's got the Rona?
Yes, he's got the coronavirus. Idris, if you happen to come across the fandom zone, I just want you to. I just want you to know I love you more than Tom Hanks. And
oh, how dare you?
The rates from Squirrel. I'm just joking, Squirrel. Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors ever. Don't yell at me.
Poor Tom. Somewhere he's just like, I feel like a villain hates me right now. Like he doesn't know why or who. He has that feeling. How dare you? No kidding.
No.
Okay, Perp, but we're debating Tom Hanks versus Idris Elba. Like, it's not close.
I like Idris
better.
It is.
Yeah, you ever see Luther? That show is fire.
I'm Black
Says the
Superman.
black man. What a homer pick.
Ooh, I pissed off. Gary North said gay, General.
Wow.
Hey. He is a great talent. Okay, talent. Not that. You know what? Let's talk about this sad state of affairs. So, what do you guys in the panel think about this? And that brings up Tom Hanks too. I mean, let me ask this: how do you think this impacts the Hollywood scene? Do you think they're gonna still be callous and kind of like on their high horse, like, oh, this isn't gonna touch me, or is it going to start to humble a lot of these
Dude, they are going to
actors?
continue to be a bunch of high whores.
Depends how big that couch is.
Well, no.
You said Hollywood, right? Holy fuck, it lives.
Well,
Do you know
actually,
what you agreed with earlier, Justin?
What? Hold on.
Sorry.
Classic
Give me a
Justin.
second.
What?
Give me a second.
Jesus
Oh, he has
Christ.
to readjust things. Oh man.
Oh,
So-
man. This guy.
Let me just
Like
we
Hollywood,
got
yeah. They're talking about my people.
so let's just Tommy, no,
All right, sorry,
that part
what
of
were
my
you
life is not in a sad state of affairs. It's in a never mind. So let me just go down the line. Do you think this is gonna bring some humble pie to the Hollywood scene? Maybe mellow them out a little bit, make them realize this is a thing and not just a fashion trend.
Maybe.
Stellar. Squirrel, would you care to elaborate on that?
That was like the question that they asked Biden in the frickin' debate last night. God, I wish I could remember what the question was. But he just stands up there and he goes, no. And they were like waiting for him to frickin' like expand upon his answer. He didn't say another fucking word. There was like 10 seconds of silence.
Right. I think like as far as the Hollywood people getting off high, they're not going to get off high horses, but I think they're hypochondriacs, a lot of them. So they'll either legitimately have a positive test, or I think there's going to be at least some, if not as time goes on, because this isn't something with a virus. It doesn't go away like magically in a 60-day period. Right. So we're looking at many, many months of this shit. So I have a feeling we're going to see somebody that's going to say, I have it, blah, blah, blah. And they end up not having it. They're just doing it for PR, which, is a very dangerous thing to do when there's a lot of people that have been killed by it. But I honestly think that they don't give a shit. And Stone Cold Jeremy in chat said, not a single person in Hollywood will give a rat's ass till it's that person. Exactly. And, the holier than thou mentality. But I do think there's hypochondriacs. So, like, they're going to be super paranoid and it's always about them. It's narcissism. So, I don't know. Like,
no, they will definitely get themselves tested ahead of time, even if they don't think they're getting sick.
And here's an interesting point, too. You have these actors, and I'm gonna point out Tom Hanks for a second. I do love Tom Hanks in all seriousness. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Jesus Christ. He's trans now.
Oh.
Hey, he is such a great actor. He will transition with grace. Anyways,
Trans Hanks.
But I think that it's kind of funny, right? We had Natalie Portman come on with a dress with all these oppressed women. And we've had all of these talks about these different Hollywood stars charityding and fighting for causes, right? Here's a question, Squirrel, and you would know the best. Have you heard one of these pompous assholes come out and do anything for this awareness about this virus, or maybe giving money to the countries that need it,
You know what?
or any kind of support?
The only one I've seen so far has been Ryan Reynolds. He was donating money to like food, for food, like shelters, and also for doctors, and he was doing 2 different charities, and then he was giving Hugh Jackman shit because that's what he does. And
only Deadpool.
Exactly, it was fantastic. But but in the end, it was like, it was it came from a good place, and he's helping those in his own quote country and community in Canada, right? And I thought that was really outstanding. As far as like, there was a lot of comments people were making. Well, how did Tom Hanks get tested so quickly? That was something that came up, and there was like, oh, it's because they have money, they have this. Well, he lucked out, and he just happened to be in Australia. And Australia, their system there is a little more sufficient. There's more of a streamlining of testing and so on. And I'm sure celebrity had something to do with it, but they're claiming, the Australian government and other people within the community there are saying, well, it's because we actually are hopping on the testing as quickly as possible.
I thought you were going to say, because the Australians said they love Tom Hanks more than us.
Mm-hmm. They're like, you test Tom Hanks, you test him right away.
But it's like, there's still a lot of people who are not getting tested. Like in the community I'm in, it's a fucking clusterfuck right now. Like they're not testing properly. So there is a lot of upset people. And the reason why I think a lot of the example, I'm just saying border areas, and I'll say where I'm at, it's a lack of public testing and availability. That's the reason why you're not seeing the numbers as far as being tested. We definitely, as time goes on and the window opens, there'll probably be a lot more cases popping off. But excuse me, but the way that these celebrities were tested, that brought up a lot of heat. And, but at least with Idris, like he did the proactive thing. He was very smart. He's asymptomatic, which is huge. We've talked about this we just talked about this last night. There are a lot of people who are asymptomatic and they're carrying it, which means they're still spreading it and they're not even aware of it. And he did the proactive thing. He put himself in isolation. He got it from Justin Trudeau's wife. Did you guys know that?
I always knew Trudeau was a shady motherfucker. He is going to bring the end of the world with his black-facing racist Canadian ass.
But yeah, he got it from his wife. That's the person that, had the virus, that became positive. And so he waited, got the test done. I think he said last Sunday, was waiting on it to come back. He got it back and it came up positive. His wife hasn't been tested yet because once again, now they have his confirmation. Now they would go on and start testing other people he's come into contact with, or those people need to go into quarantine. But if you are a carrier, you can carry up to 27 days at the max so far that they're aware of. So it's like, this is a long process, but I think, I went in a circle. I apologize, but I think that like, as far as how the celebrities are treating this, it really is kind of like post 9/11. You remember all the celebrities that promised to do a bunch of shit, they're like, and a lot of them didn't, like they ended up like
fucking.
I'm still waiting for all of the celebrities that promised in 2016 to fucking leave. To leave.
Like one-way ticket to Wuhan. But it's like, there was a lot of promises that were made post 9/11 by all these celebrities. A lot of them backed out, didn't even show the money. We're in a different world now of more, I would say, transparency of these organizations. Actually, if you're going to make a promise on social media, you're probably going to be held to a higher account. So this, to me, in a sense, it's to kind of validate whether or not they're being genuine and truthful about what they're willing to put out there as far as the money or assistance or support. If they're not doing that and they're, hiding out in their house and showing you their daily life bullshit. I mean, welcome to the normal fucking world, you crazies. Like, I'm like, the bubble is being burst slowly. I think that's the issue.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point here, Squirrel. I actually lived in New York at that 9/11 time.
What?
I had. Yeah.
From New York?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And you know, I remember one of my family members' shops were caught in the radius. It got messed up. There was a lot of damage. Thank God, my nieces were out sick, so she didn't happen to be there when the initial debris came down, because it blew out a lot of windows for shops, and it was bad. But
Right.
the thing is, yeah, I remember all of these people coming forward and saying they were going to do this, they were going to do that. And you know who were the outstanding people who actually helped? Was normal, everyday fucking people. These elitists and these fucking rich pricks did nothing but say and like prop up and be like, oh, remember the day and all this other bullshit. But when it came to putting up the fucking cash, oh, nope. Yeah, you know, we showed our support. We were in a new movie about 9/11. You know, there you go.
I sent a tweet.
So,
you know, that's very true. Like, I remember all of that crap, and I thought, and when I heard about later that a lot of these people didn't, you know, step up to the line and do something. We had a lot of celebrities, you know, that did do stuff behind the scenes that never even took credit for, and we didn't find out about it until like, what, 20 years later. Like Steve Buscemi, he was a fireman, and he was, you know, he went back to New York, and he was working as a fireman post 9/11 to support his former department, and that was not well known. He didn't want it to be, because he was there with the right purpose. You know, you don't need a camera and applause to do well in the world. I think that's the illusion that celebrities have. You don't need to, it's not social media. You don't need to always be applauded because you have a fucking soul. You also don't need to, what do you call it? Broadcast your good deeds, you know, to get applause for it. You don't need that. If you truthfully have the best of intentions, you don't need the world to tell you that you're a good person. You just are. And I think celebrities are assholes like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, you know, for all of the bullshit agenda, let's do this for females and white males or this and all this other bullshit that we hear coming out of Hollywood constantly, this would be something that I would think would clean up a lot of images for these people who are having image problems right now, to come out and maybe show how they are activists, you know, and they really care, like, I don't know, Mark Ruffalo and all of you other crazy fucks that talk politics. Maybe if you want to change shit, you should lead by example and actually put your money where your mouth is, instead of fucking sitting back and talking how terrible the president is, how you hate this law, how you hate the treatment of women here, and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you fucking step off of your high horse and get down in the dirt and actually show people, yeah, the shit I'm saying, I backed up. You know, like, I don't like Bono's political views, but I'll give the man credit. This is a guy who fucking talked to the president, sat down with the president and is like, I want to have a talk with you, man. He's actually gone into countries and performed and provided numerous amounts of money. And whether you like or hate where he leans, you got to respect the fact that he believes in activism and he actively shows it.
Right.
It isn't just something he really believes in what he's saying. I mean, it was a funny forever when it was like the starving children, but I mean, he really did put up money for the starving children. So kudos to you.
Right.
But a lot of these people aren't like that anymore. They say, oh yeah, this, that. And then they sit back and they're like, I just got this new Chanel bag for like
it's true.
Jesus Christ.
Thousands of dollars. It's so in season with a little poodle that comes inside of it. Oh, look.
That's like one thing I can't stand about like rappers too. They like just throw all this money in people's face. Like, look, like I got a $100,000 watch, this, that, and third, and you give like $1 million to, or not even $1 million, like $10,000 to charity and shit. Like,
right.
Yeah. They'd be like, I'm rolling on dubs. Well, what charity you give it to? Shit, kid.
No one says that.
If they gave that $100,000 to charity, then the watchmaker would go out of business. You trying to put people out of business now, Perp?
Yes.
I knew it. He's like some closeted purple socialist.
I think that's the biggest problem I think with this virus, right? And the truth is, like I know I talk a lot about it, but the truth is it's just we have to educate people and actually the real information, not the shit that the government's repeating to keep the panic down, but to protect yourself and your family. It's always a good idea to have that information and not panic. I always feel better, truthfully, when I know what's really going on. If I feel misled or I have an ounce of fear, that means I need to answer a question. And I just recently did this with the CEO of where my ComSquirrel works. And I reached out to him because there was stupid shit going on in the workplace there where it was putting our child at risk, meaning people were coming in to work sick. There was stuff going on in the workplace that was not proper with this. You know what I mean? They weren't following the protocols in this particular workplace. And they responded to me the same day. And I spoke to him and I told him what was up. And because when I responded to him, I gave him examples. I said, listen, this is a problem. This isn't just the flu. It's not just a cold. It is a problem. There's a lot of weird things associated with this that we don't understand yet. And then once we have a vaccine, and treatment, it will reduce the fear significantly. But we need to educate. That environment needs to be, I think it'll help employees adjust better if they're educated and there's transparency and communication, just like that's why everyone's losing their minds now. And you have celebrities who are often put on these pedestals are getting sick. That kind of blows my mind every time I see a politician getting sick now.
No, we've all been sick of politicians for a while now. Here's a Ancient One. He had a great sense here. He says, education is important, really important. I agree, Ancient One. If they would have been better educated, we wouldn't be in this debacle that we're in now.
God. Every time I see somebody fighting over toilet paper and all this other, I'm like, well, that could have been avoided.
But I wanna bring it back for something a little bit happier for our last article of the night. And this is so ridiculous. And you know what?
We're gonna talk
I'm just gonna call out the YouTube
for an hour and 10 minutes.
Maybe not. I don't know. I just let the show go where it may. So I want to just give you context before we start. We got a lot of YouTubers who cover this fake outrage crowd, and now this is a perfect
fake outrage.
Yep, fake outrage, the clickbaity hate Disney for everything crowd, and now we've got this new movement rising that's going to the other extreme and acting fucking ridiculous, and they're bagging on quite possibly one of my favorite Disney movies in the 90s. And I'm going to read it to you. Disney Plus fans are outraged over an adult woman kissing a child in the movie Blank Check. Now, let me give you some context. This movie came out in fucking 1994. Okay, there was
Blank Check. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved that movie. And if you watch the movie...
It was good. It was kind of like Angels in the Outfield. Good.
Yeah, I like Angels in the Outfield too. But anyways, I mean, come on, Christopher Lloyd. But I mean, if you take into context the scene that everyone's getting pissy about, the woman knows he's a kid, and like kids who recognize women, he has a crush on this girl who's significantly older, and he does this really good deed, and she gives him a kiss, and it's like a big deal because he's fucking like 10 or 11 or something.
Yeah, lucky kid.
And she's hot. So I mean, there was no sexual. They're saying there's sexual overtones, and she's basically molesting. I'm just gonna read this article. So
they're saying she molested him.
Yes.
God.
Jesus Christ. Over a kiss?
And this scene wasn't like she grabbed him by the head and started tonguing him.
After we're off the stream again.
Yeah.
Let's see what the hell we're talking about.
So, I mean, it's not like
granted, she probably should just kissed him on the cheek and not on the lips. Cause that was
fuck that.
Yeah.
No. The kiss was there was
no corona in the 90s. Lip kisses.
Blank Check was released by Disney in 1994. 1994.
And one particular kiss scene between an adult woman and a child has gone viral, leaving people angry and threatening to boycott the new streaming platform because we have to boycott everything. For those who already have access to Disney Plus, binge watching our favorite classic movies at any time sounds like the idea of heaven. But fans have noticed some older films on the platform that actually contained seriously messed up storylines. Yeah. Enter Blank Check, the 1994 comedy about a boy who cashes a blank check for $1 million, which in the 90s, that was like $1 billion. Rate of exchange.
Man. You know what? Stone Cold Jeremy said in chat, Madonna did worse in her Open Your Heart video.
Yes. Madonna was buck wild in that era.
I remember that video too, man. I was like, what the fuck?
that video was like watching porn. For me, anyway. I was like, who is Madonna? I must watch every one of her videos.
No, I'm not watching Madonna. That's not for me.
Yeah, she's like an ancient dinosaur now. She looks like a mummy. She's always looked like a mummy.
She looked like a mummy then. It was terrifying.
Yeah. I don't see nothing.
Zod is a villain and has no qualms with mummies. Anyways.
You looking like what she looked like when she was young, and you compare it to what pop stars look like now when they're young. You're like, what the fuck are you doing to yourself, woman?
Right.
Get off of the heroin.
Yeah, and stop drinking baby's blood and all that shit. Like,
Jesus Christ.
It's not working for her.
Continue with the Disney Plus and thrust.
So the 94 comedy was about a boy who cashes a blank check for $1 million and then gets hunted by the FBI, sees the fifth grader Preston, approximately 11 years old, ask Shay, a 30-year-old FBI agent, on a date. Already, we know. In the role played by Karen Duff, the agent insists that he waits 10 years and shall reconsider. But he compromises at 6 years before the tension between the two heats up and, well, they snog. Who the fuck? What? Don't bring Harry Potter into this.
That's not a word.
That's a British thing. It means kiss. I love Harry Potter. An 11-year-old and a 30-something-year-old woman. In real life, Karen was 34, and Brian Bonsell, who plays Preston, was 13, which makes the situation absolutely no better. Jesus fuck.
Makes it
In a low-key hilarious TikTok that brought the scene back into the limelight, the person behind the camera turns around to a horrified face that we can only describe as what all of us are thinking. WTF. The video has been seen by over 980,000 people times, and people are not happy with Disney Plus for allowing it, but doesn't believe that the likes of Love, Simon is a family-friendly enough to air on the platform. Love, Victor, the spin-off series to the original 2018 Love, Simon, has been transferred to Hulu since Disney made the claims it was inappropriate as a teenager comes to terms with his sexuality. So witnessing this blank check on platform has rustled some feathers, and fans have even accused the production giant of being homophobic. Of course. Let's read some of these great tweets. We have T-Rex XD225. I can also add that Disney doesn't have the balls to truly add a legitimate LGBTQYZX character, yet they let this air. The nerve. Those bastards.
Oh my god.
I can't even say this one, but it's at queer.
You can't say it
because it's IVICA _ IAN. Yeah. And yet they won't allow Love, Simon because it's inappropriate for children. Maria says, exactly. I hate this. If anything, Love Simon also educates kids that homosexuality is a thing and the LGBT people are just like any other living normal person. How the
Well,
fuck
that person
did they
needs
think
to be
this is okay?
attacked for forgetting about the cues.
Every reaching my full LSC posted, every time I watch Disney movies from my childhood as an adult, I am confused by how most of it was ever allowed. Ancient Onyx says Disney will tolerate pedophilia, but not homosexuality. That's where they draw the line. Disney.
Oh my god.
Pedophilia. That's funny.
Yes, because of a kid. And folks, this kid lasts like 3 seconds and she pecks him. It's not like she grabs him by the head, makes out, and they're all touching.
Everything is wanted too. Like he wanted this lady to give him a kiss, from what I can remember.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was like, "Oh, let's go to my bedroom" or something. It was a kiss. It was a kiss, and it was the 90s, and it was about a kid who cashes a check for $1 million.
Right.
Look at the premise. What the fuck?
Man, I feel like during this time where everyone's going to be at home, there's going to be so many movies they're going to pick apart. Just go down the line and pick apart because feelings. And I'm like, I think we should ban them. Like the moment we know that people are like this, you just ban them off the list so they can't see these fucking movies. I swear to God.
Like, there was this one show on Cartoon Network, Two Stupid Dogs. And they
love that show.
They always have those in between, like little, not like commercials, but like little side cartoons. And one of them, I'm gonna find this on YouTube. They're sitting at like a family picnic table thing, whatever, and the two siblings are fighting, like a brother and sister. They're all fighting, and the mom's like, "Oh, you two kiss and make up," and they like literally kiss on the lips, and like I was like, "Yo, that's crazy."
Oh, how could they?
Like, here's the thing. This is what happens when we go one end or the other, which I've been talking about now for a couple of times that I've been live because it's been fucking ridiculous. No matter what side of this argument you take, we've got now a far SJW crazy side like this one, and then you've got a far everything is evil that Disney produces side. And at this point, I'm starting to feel like maybe Disney is not this evil fucking empire you guys are making it out to be. Everyone's just picking at something. Either one side wants to pick apart Disney because Star Wars. Get the fuck over it. It's one franchise. Y'all weren't bitching about the MCU except for Captain Marvel, and I throw my hat in that argument. Fuck that cunt. But the rest of it, you guys still went to see the MCU.
Real hard.
you guys all still went to see Endgame. Everyone and their mother had a fucking stream about Endgame. So don't fucking tell me that you can endorse one side of a company and not the other and bitch and complain about the other side. If you're going to take the argument to take both sides, because it's just like these wacky, fucked up people on the other end who are like, oh my God, an 11-year-old kid kissed a 30-year-old for like 3 seconds. And it was like a peck and he turned all red. And it was actually kind of a funny scene. But we're going to pick it apart because they won't have a gay show. Oh my God. Those homophobes.
Right.
Like, come on. There's a difference between two males making out and explaining that shit to your kids over an innocent fucking 3-second peck on the lips.
Yeah.
From a funny movie.
I don't understand. I don't think people understand what phobias are. Like, because they just know that.
It's true. It's true.
Because that's like, I mean, you just got a complete fear of something. Like, you are petrified of this. You don't want this to, it has nothing to do with your personal preference or sexual preference or whatever the fuck.
And how these guys flip-flop too. First, they'll praise Disney because, they're talking about diversity. But the same people who are happy with diversity will then attack Disney to say, oh, but they had this, but now they won't give us this, because people who are parents don't want to fucking explain what this show is going into. And from what I've heard, the show goes pretty heavy into it, that field, which is
Goes
fine.
pretty
If
heavy
you
into the petting.
you know, Love Simon or whatever, or Love, whatever the fuck it's called, it goes pretty hard.
I never loved Simon.
It goes pretty hard into the whole homosexuality thing, and I can understand Disney going, I don't think the parents will be happy about explaining this. But a movie made in fucking 1994 where there was a little tiny kiss on the lips, that's your big fight.
I think it's really strange because I don't think they quite understand what pedophilia is. And no, I'm being honest. I honestly I've started thinking about this because they were having a fit about a couple of different football players. There was a football player that kissed his son on the lips, like as affectionately, right? Between a father and son. It was a peck, a normal type thing, because people do that in some families. It's just, there's no fear of intimacy, right? Where other families, that's unheard of. It's creepy or whatever. I get it. But in the end, what it all seems to stem back to, including the homosexuality or heterosexuality or whatever it is, it's always about people do not seem to be in touch with their own sexuality. It's almost like they're in fear of themselves, of understanding that intimacy is very different than sex. You know what I'm saying? Like lust and affection, those are two different things. And pedophilia is purely sex. You know what I'm saying? Like that. There's no like affection involved in that in a normal, right. There's not a normal form of affection with that. It's a toxic form, and it's narcissistic, and it causes a lot of harm to people. Whereas intimacy between, affection and love, that's very different. And I don't think they quite understand or have a grasp on their own. I don't think they need to go to like school for like fucking reality and deal with intimacy and understand the repercussions of both. Like, I don't feel like these people live on this planet. I think they're just scared of anything that's remotely intimate. Well, that's just creepy. And that's, but then oh God, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree.
Good morning, Will.
Yes. I was just writing that in the chat. Hey there, Will. I think that it's just this, like, I think it's just a way, honestly, for them to lift up a cause by making a bullshit comparison to something that they deem is worse than what they're championing for. Because when you think about the two comparisons, it's vastly different to push this view of two guys kissing and homosexuality and all that. Those are heavy topics to bring to kids who will be watching this, as opposed to explaining, oh, look at that goofy thing. He wrote $1 million check. This can't ever happen. Oh, look, it was right. He's a kid. He had a crush on this girl older than him. Realistically, he's going to move on and probably find someone and marry them. But this will be a funny little story he talks about in his life.
It's
something
not
like
uncommon.
that.
Like these are things that small children do go through, even if they're short phases of having crushes on teachers or, adults, to some degree, especially, like you see it a lot in the 80s films, 90s films, where it's usually like young boys and hot girls, right? Or the girls having a thing for like a male teacher, right? And what was the hell that, Don't Stand So Close to Me, that song by Sting? Like, what do you think that's about, man? Like, like it's so weird. Go ahead.
Did you see anybody see Milk Money?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
with Ed Harris and Melanie Griffin. And yep, and she's a hooker, and like he that whole premise of it is he hired her to like have a thing with her, and she was just like she wasn't going to do that, but basically, she just showed him like her leg or her boobs or something. I think it was her boobs, and that was it.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then the boys were like excited because they thought that they had quote sex. It was hilarious. But that part too, I mean, that this happens, it's a theme in films because it's, with the younger kids, it happens. And it's like, they're going to have those things. And I mean, that's a danger, obviously, but it's explaining that that's the inclination sometimes throughout, young years for a lot of kids, just like when we have crushes on celebrities that are much older than us when we're children. It's the same damn logic,
No, my torch has never died for Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Oh God.
I will be burning that forever. Fuck you, Freddie Prinze.
That's why you watch the Scooby-Doo movie?
Oh, solely. So that movie has no rewatchability whatsoever. But Sarah Michelle in that role, perfect. I could honestly just go up to that director and go, "Sir, you've done fine work
She's
here."
not even the hottest chick in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Blasphemy, PB. Blasphemy.
Oh my.
No, man, I can't think of the other chick's name, but she's hotter.
Who played Thelma in Scooby-Doo?
Yes, it's the same chick who's from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, she.
We will agree to disagree, sir.
I remember how to pronounce her name. The actress Linda Cardellini.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe that's it. That sounds
Yep.
right.
That's her.
Yep, that's the one.
She's really.
But I
pretty.
mean, swinging back to the topic, I think that this is ridiculous. I think this is what happens when you allow these crazy people to have a voice, and it's really been bred by this social media war that we're in, and both sides are getting to to points of ridiculousness. Like, this calling shit out is directly why more shit is being nitpicked. And, this is going to go back to destroying shit that was already done, just because now, it's this constant tit for tat, just like that whole Onward thing and all of this other bullshit. It's like, come on, people. Are Disney douchebags? Yes, we've established they've done a lot of douchebaggy things. But are they a corporation? Yes. Are they about the bottom line? Yes. Will they say what they need to think that's how they're going to make money? Fuck yeah. I mean, so, going on these crusades is a fruitless pursuit. I mean, we got to save our energy for shit like R.I.P. Doctor Who, R.I.P. The 11th Doctor destroyed us.
Good evening to Jamie Vick and Spartan Jeremy. Oh my. Spartan Jeremy says, "It's okay, Zod. It's only human to be wrong."
So many English people.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's this bullshit that's going on. It's just getting crazy and out of control that now they're reaching back into the older catalog because they lose their battle for their flagship show. That I mean, just the comparison, like, how do you compare a show like that's going to talk about those themes? Like, I 100% agree with that move. And I think it's smart, Disney using Hulu to show shit they can't show. Because I've watched Runaways on Hulu, and then I watched it on Disney Plus, and they cut a lot of shit out.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, like, you gotta watch it on the Hulu version. Is much that show is crazy. It started on
definitely
Hulu.
Gotta watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit they don't show on Disney Plus, and rightfully so. I mean, for anything, there's, Disney is branding towards this family thing, then of course some things are going to have to be dialed down on that. But, it's just so funny. They call for stuff here, but then they don't want to acknowledge this, or they acknowledge this and then they use it to try to prop this up. It's just a bunch of bullshit, and it pisses me off. And it's just going to keep on going down this way. So, that's my rant. Fuck you. Fuck all you wacky SJW cunts. I feel the same way about you that I feel about Brie Larson. Y'all need to take that bus that hopefully she'll be on. And I'm not saying a villain will be driving the opposing bus, but hopefully you're all in the same fucking place when that bus explodes. Hashtag Brie Larson's a cunt. Sorry, I gotta threaten people at least 5 times. I think I made my quota for the night.
At least
Zod's
5.
Zod's about to get canceled in 2020 also.
I'd say you've done about a baker's dozen.
But yeah, in all seriousness, it's like, and I'm glad Squirrel's on, because with this coronavirus and the things being affected, would you agree this is the worst time for you to release anything that will not get you views? Because and probably more so for movies that are coming out.
Well,
but
that's kind of a catch-22, because they could release stuff, right? And then they could say, well, it didn't do well because Corona. Like they already tried that with Birds of Prey. And, because they didn't have the Chinese numbers. And I'm like, well, if you guys would pay attention to the global markets and realize that most people, the bulk of people and the city numbers that were under quarantine couldn't really make it out to the theaters, you would have known that. And then that's why it was such an easy go-to excuse for that failure. They might have made some money, but not what they were, nowhere near what they were expecting. So I think if they wanted to, this is actually a great time to put out some shitty movies. That way they can say, well, we gave it a whirl,
And I gotta say, I watched Bloodshot, and I looked at the numbers and stuff, and I'm really glad it came out at this time. Because don't get me wrong, I had fun with the movie, and it was enjoyable for all the wrong reasons. Check out my review. It's one of those movies where it's comically bad, and you'll have fun watching it because you'll have nostalgia of the 90s and how they used to do comic book movies back then. Some of the animation looked like PS3 level cutscenes, and not the good. Yeah, it was not. I enjoyed it, but for the wrong reasons. So I'm glad that they released it, because they were supposed to start a universe based on this. I'm well, now he's got a shot.
There was a comment. Well, Gentry said earlier, he goes, it's not what happens when you let these crazy people have a voice. It's what happens when the masses don't tell these people that they're talking bullshit and they're being ridiculous.
I agree. Well, and to answer your previous comment, because I saw it in the chat, I would love to have you on where we could talk about the death of Who and the strong, first, brave female doctor, Jodie Whittaker. A national treasure.
Who?
There's another bitch who needs to be on that bus with Brie Larson. Just saying.
Nice.
Along with
really starting to sound like a misogynist.
Along with Chip Null. Fuck Chip Null too. He's a British cunt. I think the British would agree with me on that one. He needs to go down with the ship. Unfortunately, they've effectively killed the show before he left. So even if you get him the fuck out, the show is dead. So thank you, Chip Null. Thank you, Whittaker. I hope you all fucking die. Disclaimer.
Wow. Metaphorically in Minecraft. Jesus Christ. Good God. Disavow.
I haven't been this fired up in a while.
You've been spicy. I'm like, oh God.
So, I'm going to get some final thoughts from the panel, some final nuggets of knowledge, so I could start wrapping this up, because I've got a mythical unicorn to snog with. And I don't mean like a blank check kiss.
Oh my.
No, I ain't fucking around tonight, Gary North. Perp, go ahead. Tell us about your channel. Any final words of wisdom you'd like to give to the crowd?
Yerp, this perp. Yeah, it's been interesting. Stream. You can find me at Perp Minded. That's Perp Minded. I gotta say it slow for some people.
What about on Twitter?
Oh, Perp Minded 420. That's 420. I just want to make it clear so people don't forget. But anyways, I have what's my most recent video? Oh, Westworld season 3, episode 1. Definitely check that out. If you have not seen the series, check it out, and then watch my review of season 3 because I didn't review season 1 or 2. So yeah, not gonna get those. But also I have a live stream next Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So bring your checkbooks.
Yeah.
And write perp a blank check.
my.
Let's go to the quarantine squirrel and get her channel and all of the fun facts she's got. And if you want to be scared to death,
Oh Jesus!
no.
No, it's
Go
more like
ahead.
if you want to be enlightened.
Yeah, it's just yeah. So we do right now. I'm just doing once a week's live stream. That's on Sunday nights, usually between 10 p.m. CST or 11. But right now we're staying to 10. We do go over the current news stuff, and obviously we've been covering like since the early, like the first weekend of February, really. I think it was February 3rd or 6th or something like it was our first news roundtable, and we were covering the coronavirus since then. And I was with my co-host Rich, and we usually have a lot of panelists that pop on, and we talk. The Big Rich, who is celebrating his birthday on Monday. But anyway,
oh yeah,
he and I used to do a pod together, so that's something we've been doing for quite a long time. And we decided to do this for now, and then we'll go back into our craziness eventually. Most of it is because a lot of the information we were discussing in previous months have all come to pass. So it's still behind. Our news is still very behind on information, and properly communicating with people, is not happening yet. And there's a lot of panic. And after we had a couple of the news roundtables, I was getting DMs, and so was Rich, and other people too were having questions from family or other people that tuned in and did watch it. So that's why we kept going. It was obviously helping somebody, right? And the news is doing a fantastic job of doing jack shit. So anyway, if you do want to check out the show, it's on Sunday nights. You can catch it and replay. Actually, this from yesterday. It's up right now. And we do try to go over it and keep it light too, because it is really a dark subject. But I would rather people have more information than less, and not be so fearful, but be aware, because it's better to have no surprises. I would rather not have any surprises. But I know that as time goes on and people are going to continue to be crazy. So it's just important to have that level head. So anyway, that's what I do once a week. You can find me on Twitter at SGT Mad Squirrel. Yay. And I'm on YouTube at Mad Squirrel Conversation. So.
It's funny you would bring up Sunday nights, because they could get lighthearted discussion and laughter from the Clone Wars talk that me, PB, and LB do, and then jump over and get information and knowledge from Squirrel. So it works out, because I do my stream earlier, and then they can hop right into yours and be informed. So
yeah, I mean,
it's symbiotic.
We're trying to lighten it up a little bit more and more. That's why we're bringing other panelists, you know what I mean? Bringing everybody on, and trying to be less scary about information, but being honest with people. And not scaring the shit out of people. Without everything is documented, everything we discuss is all the links are always in the description.
I am only there to lighten the mood.
It's true. But, no, I'm kidding.
It's 100% true.
But no, you do add. Everyone adds something, even if it's a question or you notice something in the news that doesn't make sense.
I can definitely add questions. That's for sure.
Oh, awesome, Jamie Vick. I really appreciate that. She says, my oldest son lives in San Jose. I'll try to get some information for you. That's fantastic, because I have friends that are along the border. I'm along the border also. I'm in South Texas, and I have a couple friends in El Paso. I have my sister from another mister, and my extended family. They live in Yuma. So it's always a collaboration of information along the border to see kind of where everybody's at. And also I have friends throughout the States and abroad in the Philippines and other Asias that they were the ones that kind of brought it to my attention in early January. That this was something different. So it's more or less just trying to collaborate and find, also to help other people, to connect with other people that can help them if they're trying to find resources, things like that. And I think it's very important to stick together as a community. And it's not always about panic and fear as much as it's just sharing information, keeping everybody calm, and then trying to enjoy, a very healthy quarantine. So I think it'll be fine. And there's going to be a lot more streams going on now that people are in quarantine. So
Oh yeah, I got a week off. I'm dropping a couple things, but I'll get to that when I get to my plugin. But yeah, definitely go over, check it out. And you forgot one other thing that I'm going to help you with in your Teespring.
Oh Jesus!
The leggings.
Oh my God, he's back.
Oh, he's back, Justin. He's back, and he's quiet. Bless.
Justin.
He muted.
Are you alive?
hello.
Are you dead?
There he is. Yay.
Hi.
Oh, so now that we have Justin back and apparently alive, tell us about some of the bullshit you got going on this week.
Oh God, so much.
Thank you, Justin.
God bless.
Oh, God bless what used to be the United States of America. All right. Hi, my name is Justin Proper, and God, I mean, it just gets worse and worse every day. So I'm not even gonna do a this week in bullshit sort of thing anymore, because I would rather just not talk about whatever the fuck is going on, because it just gets worse and worse every day, and I would rather just sort of get the fuck away from it all,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That was a beautiful plug from Justin Hopeless.
Okay, just hopeless.
Just hopeless.
I felt like you were like Tom Hanks in Castaway, man. You have your Wilson?
Just help. No, this week in bullshit is gonna be on Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, carry on.
And Justin Popper will bring you great, more hopeful, happy news. As you can hear from his tone, he's not a defeated man.
I would rather just come up with just bullshit things that happen. Like, oh my God, aside from the, oh my gosh, there's no soap here.
Yeah.
I would rather go beyond those sort of stories.
So if you want soap statistics, go and check that out. And of course,
fuck you. No, my channel is not about soap statistics.
Sure it isn't.
He will be keeping you up to date on the toilet crisis of 2020.
Fuck no.
That's why it's called This Week in Bullshit, Justin.
That's not it. No. No, this isn't a toiletry channel.
It's all coming together. PB, go ahead. Tell them about your Tell them about your epic matchups you got coming. One would say Marvel type matchups that you got coming. It's a bit of madness.
That was a terrible fucking segue, guy.
Yeah, you
need
win
to
some.
practice. And that was a loss. Yeah. Go to my channel, Pop Culture PB. Watch the most recent video. It was the first release in the ongoing series that is going to be MCU March Madness. And then go over to my Twitter and vote on the poll that's pinned to my profile. That's it. And then when you're done with that, go check out Stevie J Reviews. He's the only panelist that isn't here anymore. And Zod wasn't going to bring him up, so I figured I would.
You don't know that? Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, definitely. Stevie J Reviews will give you the most in-depth coverage on movies ever. That video about T2, I still cry
You
to
are
this day. And
supposed to tell them something that's supposed to be different than you, because now nobody's going to watch your movie reviews. They're just going to go to him. Be like, they'll give you a different perspective, like from the other side of the earth.
Yes. Speaking of the other side of the earth, you've been in General Zod's fandom zone. Thank you, everybody, for tuning
like a
in.
Different fucking dimension.
Oh, it is. And thinking differently, too.
Really quick, Zod, before I'm sorry, before we go down the road to closure, I did post what you were about to plug earlier, and then Justin came back, so that was good. Was the charity fundraiser doing for Doctors Without Borders. I put the links in there, and if anyone's interested in doing so, I have them in descriptions on my channel as well. But basically, I designed a T-shirt, and all of the proceeds from the design for our miracle workers is going to be going directly to Doctors Without Borders. And you can do it directly. Actually, you can just donate directly to Doctors Without Borders at the link, so we can track it. All the proceeds will go to them, and they are working with dozens of different countries right now, trying to get resources out to different areas. So highly recommended organization, pretty outstanding response. And they're also they work hand in hand with governments to develop vaccinations. They handled SARS and MERS in the past, as well as responded to different events around the world. So anyway, those links are in the chat. I almost forgot about that. I'm a terrible person. It's late.
Yes. So donate, or Zod will find you. Anyways,
I mean, I guess if you're going to say that you're a terrible person, then I'll say that you're a great squirrel.
Oh, thank you.
Oh.
I appreciate the nut love.
And speaking of nuts, you can find the wackiest reviews here in the Fandom Zone. I just did one on, if you want to talk about woke, this movie was so woke that I felt like I drank a gallon of coffee when I got out of it. Yes, I'm talking about Greed. If you haven't heard of it, good. Go check out my review. I spoiled the shit out of it because it's not worth seeing. First movie I ever did that with. Oh. Also, I have a review up for Blood. You read between the lines, okay? I try to talk cryptically. Just come out and say stuff. Anyways, I also have a review up for Bloodshot, and I have a review up for Castlevania, which has been the most contentious. It's a pretty good review, and I got 2 more coming. I'm going to do a team lineup for Grand Cross 7 Deadly Sins mobile game and Marvel Strike Force, because I just got Invisible Woman.
Strike Force!
Yeah, I'm not going to say I've spent an absurd amount of money, but I could probably have funded a charity with the amount of money. So I got good teams. So, yeah, I'm a terrible person. Anyways,
with the amount of money you have spent on a fucking mobile game, you better have one of the best teams on the entire frickin' planet.
If you look at my roster, I've pretty much got everyone unlocked except for the brand new characters, and that's because Fox next. I'm running out of money. Stop being greedy, you fucks. Anyways,
the rage.
So yeah, we got that. And don't forget, my new times for these streams is every Monday and Thursday. I was doing them all week, but I got burnt out. I don't know. With the quarantine in effect, you might see me stream a few more times a night. I just let it go where it may go, but we'll be doing that. And on Sunday, you can see us talk about Great EU, Star Wars, Clone Wars, and get our take on the show and how it is part of the EU. So come over, watch that. EU people, bring your hatred. It sustains me. And as always, remember the only rule here in the Fandom Zone.
Do not
Go
trust
get
white
shot.
people.
Fill up that mobile.